Hello, guys. Cardio chat today. So you're doing your cardio, whether it's a speed clean of your house or you're out for a walk or you're on a treadmill or a bike or whatever. If you're doing cardio, we're talking.
Hi guys.
Today,
Tam likes to talk the most, I think.
and I'm just like take action person. Today we're going to be busting some myths. That and I don't want to go over time again. So
Yeah.
today we're going to bust some myths. So Jess and I are just going to like tag team this and elaborate on some myths that we thought of. We definitely aren't going to touch on all of them today,
No.
but, but we're going to hit as many as we think we can.
Yeah. Some of
Okay.
them are probably going to be a bit more discussion than others, but you've probably seen a lot of these myths. I mean, going around social media, or just some of them are just ones that have been around since even our parents were in like their 30s. And there was that big weight loss movement and all the Atkins and stuff. And I think that they just, even though we know that they're not right, people just still are hanging on to them.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on those too.
Okay. So
Okay. You ready?
Jess is gonna do the first one. So
Okay.
here's the myth. You need to spend hours in the gym for results.
Okay. So personally, I would probably say my average workout a day is 20 minutes. Um, there are the odd days that it's a bit longer. There's some days that it's a bit shorter, but you don't need to. There's some people out there that think that you need to do like an hour of cardio and then an hour of weightlifting. And so you need to be in the gym for 2 hours every day to to get any improvement, which is not true because the body continues to burn calories and build muscle post workout. So your workout's just a portion of what your body's going to do. And then there's the recovery phase, and there's a whole lot that happens in that recovery phase. So you really don't need extended periods of time in the gym. That's not to say that some of your workouts might not be a little bit longer if you're focusing in on a certain muscle, or you really focus a lot of time on your mobility and your warm up, for sure. But if you are somebody that likes to throw out the excuse, I don't have time, because you think that you need to spend an hour in the gym every day, we're busting that myth today.
Yeah, I think just to add to that is it's more important to be efficient with your workout than it is to have a long workout. So
Totally.
if you're spending, 4 or 5 minutes, say you're weightlifting and you're spending 3, 4, or 5 minutes between sets because you're scrolling through Instagram, yep, you're probably going to take 2 hours to do your workout.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're efficient with it, you should be able to get a really great strength training workout in 20 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I did, one of my favorite leg workouts is still the one that you designed, him, for month one. I love it. And warm up included, and then a stretch at the end. It only takes me 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And then I feel it, and I feel like I've done something productive with my time when I do that. So
good.
yeah. Okay.
And you complain about your legs hurting every time.
Every time. It's getting better. I have to say it's getting better, because like there's growth happening there. But yeah. Okay.
Can that bring us into our next myth?
Yeah, let's do
So
it.
do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Okay. I just got to find it so I actually say it correctly. Okay. You have to be sore for it to have been a good workout.
Wrong.
Go, Tam.
So I know that's why I was like, let me do this. Okay, so here's the
Yeah.
thing about muscle soreness is yes, muscle soreness is a sign that you've broken down muscle and your body is rebuilding it. Okay, that's what muscle soreness is.
Hmm.
Joint and joint soreness is a completely different thing. So if you're having sore joints, there's a whole nother factor needing to be brought in to this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about joint soreness. I just wanted to point it out, but muscle soreness. So muscle soreness, just because you don't break down your muscles to the point of them being sore as they're rebuilding doesn't mean you didn't stress them or that you didn't effectively challenge your body. So
Hmm.
say I go out for a run and the next day I'm not sore at all, that doesn't mean that my run didn't do something good for my body, because it did. It gave me a great
Hmm.
cardiovascular workout, and it'll have strengthened through some of my leg muscles and probably some of my core muscles. It was still a good workout. Same with
Yep.
a weight training workout. So just because you're not sore after you've done a weight training workout doesn't mean that you didn't challenge your muscles. It means that your muscles didn't have to break down to the point of where it's painful or inflamed and
Hmm.
sore. It just means that, you're working, you're still working, whether you're sore or not.
Yep. And to add to that, it's not a bad thing to have muscle soreness the next day. So if you do have muscle soreness, it doesn't mean that you like pushed yourself too hard or you're injured yourself. It just means that you did something that your body was like, oh, like I need to work a little harder. Maybe you added a few extra pounds for the first time, or maybe you did an exercise that you haven't done in a really long time, and your body feels the need to really stress those muscles to be able to do what you're asking it to do. So it's not necessarily a bad thing to be sore, but it's not a bad thing to not be sore either, is kind of what we're saying.
Right.
And
Exactly.
sometimes it surprises me. I don't know about you, but like I'll
Oh
have a
yeah.
workout that I'm like, oh, I'm going to be so sore tomorrow. And then the next day I'm like, I'm not sore at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay, next one.
Next. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go on. Lifting heavy will make me bulky and masculine.
This is a fun one because even though we keep telling people that this is not true, for some reason, we can't get it through your thick skulls. No offense to any of you guys, but still, we as women do not have the testosterone levels to get bulky and masculine. Yes, maybe you have a different body type than another woman, and maybe you will put on a bit more muscle. But lifting heavy weights is not going to make you bulky and masculine. I often lift heavy, and I am far from bulky and masculine. What weightlifting will do for you is increase the amount of muscle that you have in your body, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that muscle is going to turn out in this big, bulky Arnold Schwarzenegger style muscle.
It
Yes, we
also
see
doesn't,
some. Go ahead.
no finish.
I was just going to say, yes, we do see some women that look like that, but those women have, number one, altered their diets, altered like maybe their hormone balances to look like that. They're trying to look like that. So if you go pick up a 25-pound dumbbell the next time you go to do a set at the gym, it's not going to make you look like that.
Yeah. And like I hate to break it to it, but most women, like largest percentage of women, also won't get great big bulgy veins like men
No.
can do, right? Like you can
Yeah.
try really, really hard, but they're still going to be like not bulging it like men can.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just
And
not going to happen
also,
for you.
also to just throw this in there too, because of our hormones and the way that our hormones are, we actually have to work a whole lot harder than men to build muscle. So lifting heavy is not going to make you big and bulky because if anything, your body's still going to struggle to gain muscle. It's a struggle us women have is to gain muscle. Um, so you going and picking up a little bit of a heavier bar or a heavier weight next time you're at the gym is not going to be the thing that makes you big and bulky.
From my personal professional experience, women that tend to hold on to extra body fat or like extra bulk are the women that tend to have the ability to have a little bit more muscle mass. So you kind of have
Mm-hmm.
an option. You either build your muscle and you have a nice, strong, toned body, or
Right.
you have a nice, kind of fluffier look to you.
Yeah.
So if you're naturally thin, it's a lot harder to build bulky muscle. If
Yeah.
you're naturally a little bit on the fluffier side, that's what I call myself, by the way.
Fluffier. I love
I
it.
I
That's
naturally
a
get
great term.
fluffier. I naturally get fluffier, but I also naturally build muscle more. So like when I start
Right.
doing a lot of heavy strength training, what I find happens is my jeans stop fitting in the thighs first, and then the fluffiness falls off and it's just muscle. So sometimes, it's just something to keep in mind. If your body type naturally predispositions you to hold on to weight, you might have a bit more of a
Mhm.
bulkier look once you do strength training. But trust me when I say this, you'd rather have that bulkier, strong look than the fluffier look, right?
Mhm. And I like on my body type side, I'm coming from a place of back when I was 18 years old, I would pick up the 3 pound dumbbells because I was terrified that if I picked up anything heavier, that I was going to look all gross and like a boy. That was like a legitimate thought in my head, to now the person that picks up the 25 pound dumbbells. And yet it still hasn't happened. So it's just not going to happen for me. Okay, moving on. I think
Okay,
we need
next
to.
one. Yeah, keep going.
Next one. Okay, the one I'm excited to for. Well, wait. Yeah, this is on you, right?
Yep,
This is yours.
yep.
Okay, spot reduction.
I knew
Go.
you were gonna throw that one at me.
It's one of my favorites because
False
people still throw it at me all the time, like, oh, how do I get rid of this like flab on the back of my arms? How do I get
bat
rid of
wings.
this flab on my tummy? Oh, okay,
Okay,
go,
so
Tam.
you know what? That comes back to what we were just talking about. First and foremost, you can't spot reduce. Sorry. If
Yeah,
you're gonna lose weight, it's gonna come off of probably where you don't want it to first. Straight
the
up.
boobs probably.
That's where I was going with that. Maybe for you. For me, it's definitely not, never comes off of there. But anyways,
Yeah, yeah,
um, it comes back to the strength training and the toned, bulky thing that we were getting into. If you do the strength training and the heavier lifting of weights, you're going to build that muscle in that area that you want to reduce. And if you
right.
build a muscle in the area that you want to reduce, it doesn't mean you're going to lose the fat in that area. It means that that muscle is going to become stronger and more toned, to use a word that I'm definitely air quoting right now.
Yeah,
But when you get that muscle stronger and that muscle more defined, even though you didn't lose girth on that area, it looks better.
yeah,
So you can't spot
yeah.
reduce, but you can spot strengthen.
Well, and I think this ties into another myth that we actually didn't even write down, but it totally ties into it, of the myth of that you can turn fat into muscle. That's not
I
how it
know.
works, people. And so
Sorry.
that's where that whole spot reduction mentality comes from. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
losing
just
my
lost
head.
it there. I got you
Yeah,
again.
I'm back. I'm losing my headset battery. So I'm going to keep talking while I go get my charger. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, so going into that is that these people have this belief that they can um, take the fat that's let's go for tummy. They can take the fat that's on their tummy, do some crunches, and then that fat turns into muscle. And then now I've got a 6 pack and I've got no more fat. It's not how it works. You might build your 6 pack, but you might build your 6 pack underneath all that fat, and
Kind
nobody's
of
going to see it.
what I just said about what happens to my thighs when I start doing strength training is I get nice strong muscles under my thighs. The fat's still on top of it, so that my jeans don't fit.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Right. So it's the same.
right.
That's exactly what's happening is, yeah, you can build a muscle, but it doesn't mean that's where you're burning the fat. Because when we build the muscle, yes, we increase our metabolic need, but our body doesn't just say, oh, well, they increase their metabolic need in their triceps, so we're just going to use their bat wing fat. It's not the way it works. So quite often
Yeah,
what happens is the last place that you put weight on is the first place that it's going to come off. And then the first place that you start putting weight on is the last place that it comes off. Right?
right, right.
Right. Anyways.
Sorry, I'm like finicking with cords.
Okay. So I think we touched on that one, but I'm also going to touch on the next one while you continue finicking with cords. Muscle weighs more than fat. No, a pound of muscle and a pound of fat are still a pound. The difference is that a pound of muscle is like half the size of a watermelon, and a pound of fat is half the size of a watermelon, and a pound of muscle is more like the size of an orange. A little bit off,
I'm
but
back. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
Oh
So
my God.
muscle is denser than fat. So muscle takes up less space than fat. A pound of muscle takes up less space than a pound of fat. Okay,
Okay.
good.
So you touched on one
I
while I
touched
was
on that myth. Yeah,
struggling.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's your turn.
Okay.
I have one for you.
Okay. Throw me one.
Fruit is bad for you because of the sugar.
Oh, okay. Okay. So this ties into a bit of what we talked about last week with the whole keto diet and everything like that. Um, Avoiding a type of food because it has carbs or sugar. Um, so a lot of people that have this mentality that they want to avoid sugar, they start cutting fruit because fruit has natural amounts of sugar in it. There is nothing wrong with sugar, especially in its natural form of fruit, especially because the nutrient value of that fruit is going to balance out the sugar. Um, So the fiber, the vitamins that you're getting from that fruit are far more important than the small amounts of natural sugar that your body will digest very quickly and won't cause you any weight gain because it's in its natural form. Do you have
Ding.
anything to add,
Nope.
Tam?
Bang on. Plus sugar, or
Okay.
sorry, well, sugar does taste good, but fruit tastes good.
Mm,
So if you're craving sugar, fruit is probably one of the things you should reach for first.
exactly. It curbs those cravings before you go and reach for the heavily processed sugars that have no nutrient value for you.
Yep.
So also they're great for sweetening up things like if you want to eat a high protein packed plain yogurt and you throw some fruit in there, you've instantly sweetened your yogurt without adding any unnatural sugars to the mix.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay, move
All
on.
right. Okay, I'll throw one at you. Which one? I'll give you one of yours here.
Okay,
Being thin, having a six pack means you're healthy.
good. That's what I wanted. Okay. No.
Oh.
I this does not, there's no truth to this. So just because you have a six pack or just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy. This also goes the opposite. Just because you have extra weight on your body does not mean that you're unhealthy. What makes you unhealthy is unhealthy habits. Sitting
Mm,
on your ass doing nothing, stressing to the max, not getting appropriate rest, eating fat, like saturated fat, deep fried, gross laden foods. Sorry, I'm calling them gross. I know they taste good, but they're gross. They're gross in what they do to your body. Like so gross in what they do to your body. But so they should only be a treat. I'm not saying avoid them, but if you're having like pizza, McDonald's, you know, getting
right.
takeout all the time, having chicken fingers and fries, hamburgers and buns all the time, they're not doing any good for your body. So
Right.
you can be healthy by doing healthy habits.
Right.
So
Well,
you
I'm
and go ahead.
go. No, you go ahead. You finish.
And
We keep
and
interrupting you.
I know. And you may or may not be thin and you may or not be overweight. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're looking after your body the best way that you can.
Hmm. I think too. A lot of times we see people who have lost weight, and our first instinct is to think, "Oh wow, good for you! You've lost weight. You must be doing something right." Only to find out that that person has extreme anxiety. They're having panic attacks. They're having stress to the max, and that's what's causing them to lose weight. They've picked up an unhealthy habit like smoking, which also causes you to lose weight. So that's why weight loss and health are not, they shouldn't be tied together. Yes, if you're doing healthy things and having healthy habits, there's a chance that you may lose weight in the process if those unhealthy habits were the things causing you to gain weight, but they're not necessarily tied together.
Agreed. Okay, next one, because we're almost out of time. You need to do
Okay.
cardio for what, weight or fat loss?
Oh, okay. So a lot of people like to avoid, well, not even avoid. They just they downplay the importance of resistance training if they're trying, if their goal is weight loss or fat loss. And they think that they just need to do cardio upon cardio upon cardio because cardio has the ability to burn quite a few calories in a session. So people think, well, if I just do cardio, then I'm going to achieve my fat loss or my weight loss faster than if I do resistance training, because resistance training tends to, during your session, that's the in air quotes part, during your session tends to burn fewer calories. However, when we build muscle during resistance training, not only are we burning calories during that resistance training session, we're also building muscle, which then in turn increases our metabolism. And so it increases the amount of calories that you burn at a resting state when you have more muscle on your body. So resistance training, I mean, it's important for far more than just weight and fat loss. It's important for a whole host of other things. But in terms of somebody whose goal is weight loss and fat loss, and I mean, Tam and I will both agree that that shouldn't necessarily be everybody's goal, but we know that there are some people out there that that is your goal. And as long as it's coming from the right place, that's okay. But resistance training is going to be just as important for you as cardio. And I'm not downplaying cardio either because cardio has its place, but there's this perfect balance between the two that's going to get you what you want.
But you don't need to find that perfect balance. You have to find the perfect
No,
balance that works for you. So if you
right.
love strength training, resistance training, do it, but also make sure that you're getting your heart rate up because the cardio portion of physical activity is literally what it says, cardiovascular health. So keeping your heart rate up for cardiovascular health is important. So if you
Yeah.
want to minimize your risk of cardiovascular disease, stroke, heart attack, all of those lovely things that fall under the umbrella of cardiovascular disease, then you do need to do cardiovascular activity. However, your cardiovascular activity does not have to be high intensity. It can be moderate to low intensity. Just if you're doing low intensity, you just have to do longer. If you're doing moderate to high intensity, you can do it in shorter periods of time. So getting out for a brisk walk as often as you can is probably one of the best activities that you can do for your cardiovascular health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and then resistance training, I just want to touch on this one. It's another myth because some people will say that weight training is more important than cardio, which is also not true.
Yeah.
However, resistance training or weight training or weight bearing activity is incredibly important for us as we age to decrease our risk of osteoporosis, decrease our risk of
Exactly.
falling, um, improve our ability to stay uh, independent as we get old. So, like, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm 80 plus, I don't want to be in a home. I want to be living in my own home and still
Mm-hmm.
tending to my garden. Like, we're all going to die. It's inevitable. What is important to me? You can't stop yourself from dying, but what is important to me and what I think more people need to think about, even though we hate thinking about it, but we have to think about it, is how do you want to live your last years? Do you want to be incapacitated because you haven't looked after your body and you haven't stayed strong? Or do you want to be independent and be able to look after yourself and have quality of life? I know which one I'm picking. Which one are you picking? Holy crap, that was a heavy one.
And with that, your doorbell rings.
Yeah, it's just a mail package. I don't even know what it is.
How much time do we have?
Like a minute.
Okay. Well, you know what? We have other ones that we can touch on, but we can talk to you about those ones later. I
Yeah.
feel like Tam's final thought was a good place to stop.
Super heavy. Now you have something.
Well, you know what though? Like it brings it. I mean, every one of these cardio chats, we come back to the same place of like exercise is about far more than how you look. Exercise
Yeah.
is about how you want to live your life.
So we all just need to stop worrying about what your exercise is doing in terms of how you look to other people and start focusing on what your exercise is doing for your body in the long term
And how you feel.
and how you feel.
How do you feel? Mentally, number one, physically,
Mm-hmm.
number 1.5 to 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you're feeling like crap, you have no energy, there's probably a reason for it. And that's a physical thing or emotional thing. And exercise may or may not have a positive impact on it.
Right.
So questions, always, always, always welcome and encouraged. We love chatting about this stuff. And I mean, we'd love to go into more depth into every topic, but we don't have that time right now because it's over 25 minutes and you are technically finished your cardio of the day. So great job.
Yeah.
And
We'll let you.
we'll touch base again with you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.